Hey everybody, welcome back. And as always, of course, thank you for watching, subscribing, liking, following us on Instagram, following us on Facebook, asking questions, commenting. We appreciate it, and we want to be able to, of course, answer way more questions. So ask your questions, they're definitely going to get answered. So we appreciate it. Keep on liking, and remember to subscribe. There's a subscribe thing on the side somewhere here. Don't know what side it's on, but subscribe, support, and share. Continue to share. So last week Friday, I posted is the grass really greener or is it just snow video? And I said, it's not snowing in Canada right now, it's not so bad. Well, the gods heard me. And they were like, oh, somebody forgot to turn on the snow button in Canada. Please go turn it on. So the next day, literally, this is what happened. There is about 1.5 feet of snow on this car, 1.5 feet of snow around this car, all around this driveway. And this is what a typical day in the life of a Canadian when it snows looks like. Shoveling your driveway. Oh my gosh. It's a workout. So if you didn't go to the gym that week, best believe that if it snows, you're gonna get a workout because you're gonna have to clean it up. It's for real. That night, it was minus 34. Now I know the temperature on the phone will say it's minus 17, but then you have to just scroll down to the part where it says feels like, because minus 17 is the temperature in a vacuum. Of course, there's wind and there's moisture in the air or lack thereof, and other elements that make it feel way colder than what the temperature in a vacuum is. So it was minus 22 or minus 17, but felt like minus 34. And I didn't have gloves. Your hands feel like they are going to burn off and drop off. So in cleaning off that car, I had to take 3 breaks and go inside and warm up and then come back outside and finish it. So, the gods heard. I'm sorry, guys, for louding up the fact that there's no snow here. The switch is on and it's now full-blown winter. Picking up where I left off with school. I got here, and the same day I got here, I had to sleep for 3 hours, and it's time for school. Yay! I was pretty excited. It's a new adventure, a new country, new place. You don't know what to expect. And of course, a new 2-hour-long bus ride. One way. You just have to make peace with the situation and know that just do some homework on the bus. You know what I mean? Just take some time to reflect. Take some time to think, because you have 2 hours before you get to your destination. And I wish it was a straight ride. Nope, not a straight flight. It's 2 hours and 3 different buses. Lucky me. So, we got a couple of questions, and one of the biggest questions for me right now is, what did I study in school? Now, I studied project management. My background is in architecture, and so project management is what would have complemented what I studied. I mean, there are other things probably, but that's the one thing I chose. As a question has asked, what's the best school? What's the best program to study? I don't think there's necessarily a best school or program. It all depends on your background and what complements what you have already. So if you have a bachelor's, or if you're a med student, you're not going to go and study project construction management, or if you have project construction management background, you're not going to go and study medicine or biology. You could, but the likelihood is slim. So of course, choose something that is going to complement what you already have, and of course something that is going to, at the end of the day, be marketable, something that's going to land you a job. Choose something that works best for you. Choose something that makes sense based on the job market, and choose a school that is recognized by the larger Canada or the larger Ontario or whatever province that you're going to go to, right? Because of course, employers want to look at your resume and say, oh yeah, I know Humber, I know McMaster. School for the what? So choose a notable school, and a school that has some accreditation of the sort, right? and of course something that is within close proximity to where you're gonna live. I mean, 2 hours was actually the closest school for me at the time. It didn't get any closer than that. And there are also schools that offer a co-op program. A co-op is where you can have an internship term at the end of your study. So you study for 8 months, and then 4 months after, you're placed into an organization or a workplace, and you do your internship program there for a couple months. And it could be beneficial because you build a relationship with an employer, and I mean, you could go back to working for that company after. Now, I personally didn't do the co-op program. I didn't choose that. I mean, it's not free. It's almost like a third semester of school, so you're paying for another semester. So I didn't do that. I was fortunate enough to get a job right out of school. But there are people at my workplace who came and did their co-op term. After they did their co-op term, they went back to school, they finished school, they graduated, and then they applied for a job, and then they got a job, and they're still working there today. So that is the benefit with doing the co-op program, or internship program as people may know it more as. So, you know, some schools offer that, some programs offer that, some schools don't. So just do what's best for you, do what's best for what you have a background in, and what's best for future job security. You know, after I got here, I did my school thing. I went to school for 8 months, which is 1 school year, as I had explained in the last one. And one of the biggest questions was, am I going to get a 1-year work permit, or am I going to get 8 months work permit? That was one of the biggest questions I had, and we Googled the hell out of that topic. And long story short is that 8 months in school is a year. It's a school year, regardless of the fact that it is consecutive or there's a summer break in between. 8 months is 1 year in school lingo. So of course, after I finished school, when I applied for my postgraduate work permit and got it, I got 1 year exactly. That too is a big question mark. 1 year. A couple of my colleagues had gone to school twice so they could get a longer work permit, right? So if you go to school for 2 years, you can get a 2-year work permit or a 3-year work permit, right? I didn't have 2 times the school fee to go to school twice. So I went to school once and did my best with the time I had, and praise God for the fact that I got a job right out of school, a skilled job that the Canadian immigration will recognize and give me points towards. And I was able to hold that job for a whole year so that the points will count towards my express entry profile. So somebody has asked about the IELTS or the English test. Now there's different types of English tests that you can do. Though I think the most common one when you're not in Canada is the IELTS, but there's also like Canadian language, a B word, CLB, Canadian language benchmark. That's probably what it is. It's probably legitimately benchmark, but you can look it up. I did the IELTS test, which stands for, I don't know what it stands for. Okay, IELTS is what I did. And somebody asked me, you know, how was the test? I brought just like dust on this. It's been a while. So here are my IELTS results. And you know, I did the general training component because that is what the website requires of you. So when you are submitting an application for permanent residency, it says to do the general training. Now, if that has changed, you can double check that, but at the time, that's what it was for me. So at the top, it says general training on my results. And I did this back in 2015. Now, remember I said, don't take it for granted that because you are an English-speaking person or you're from an English-speaking country that you're gonna mash up the test, right? Study. And it's not a matter of studying like, okay, what is the formula for the coefficient of X thing? It's literally like practicing to do an exam. Is essentially what it is, right? So there's different components that they test you on. So they test you on listening, reading, writing, and speaking, and then they give you an overall score. So you get a score in each category and an overall score. Now the listening test was like they played a story or something where somebody was reading out something, and then on your test in front of you, you have a multiple choice, and you have to pick out the answers to each question based on what you hear, right? So they play it straight, they read it one more time, they read it once, you know, like the dog was blue and the cat was jumping over the moon, and then the question will be like, what object did the cat jump over? Now, I'm not gonna say it's that basic or that elementary, but I'm saying like it's reading and there's questions, and I believe they read it for you twice. So they read it for you one time, you get some time to whatever, and then they read it for you again. And you have to be quick, and you have to pay attention, and you have to not have the attention span of a goldfish, because if you miss it, it's gone. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that what we mean when we say practice or study for your test. It's not going and studying the English language, it's studying and practicing based on the timing and what is required of the test. So I literally just Googled, you know, IELTS practice test questions or practice test, and literally just did that and practiced. All right, so no, I don't even have perfect scores, because I probably was like, this is gonna, like, really, who has to study English? Like, come on. Well, so in listening and speaking, I got the highest number of marks. The highest number of marks you can get is 9, so I got 9 in those, and in one of them I got 8.5, and in another one I got 7.5. Dunce. But I think that was because of the timing, right? If they tell you to write a story, or they tell you to read something, so you have like reading comprehension. So if they tell you to read something and then write a story based on it, or answer the questions based on it, you're against the clock, right? And if you're not fresh out of school and you kind of lost your touch with doing an exam, you definitely want to practice it and time yourself. So that is what we say when we mean like study for your test. Don't take it for granted because you're an English speaker. Like, actually try to practice and do all of the components of the test, so that's speaking, writing, reading, and listening, and have somebody probably practice it with you, to time you, to read the story to you, for you to hear it and answer the questions, right? Because the English language test can give you more points in just the English language test component, because it's English language test plus your work experience, English language test plus your educational degree, English language test plus your Canadian experience. So get the maximum points that you can possibly get. So my score was 9, 7.5, 8.5, 9. Dunce. But I still managed to get 499 points, and here I am, right? But do your best and try to practice as much as you can, right? Thanks for watching. That's a wrap. See you on Friday. And please remember to subscribe. There's a subscribe thing somewhere on the right or left here. Click it and you'll get updates as to new episodes, what's going on with us. We'll answer your questions, do all that wonderful stuff, and you help to build the community. So subscribe, like, share, please comment, please ask some questions. We love questions. And stay tuned. Next week is going to be so exciting. Next week is when I have one of the freshest Canadian permanent residencies on the show, and I get to interview this fresh off the boat experience. So thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, comment, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, do all that wonderful stuff, and we will see you on Friday with another new episode.